Welcome back to the Play versus Finals. My name is TJ, joined by one Matthew Samuelson. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, TJ. Excited to cover some more high school state championships. We've got Rhode Island today and two teams toeing off again on the Rift to see who can take home that state championship. Pretty excited to see this one, and we're going to have to see who ends up taking home that prize.
Yesterday, you got to hang out a lot with my good friend Matt Clendaniel. Did you get to catch some good League of Legends?
It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys letting Matt Squared, actually happen. Usually you just cast
Squared.
with... Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, usually you just cast with like that Matt and then I'm other Matt. So kind of nice getting both Matts together. We talked a lot about you.
That's good. I think that's the first time we have contained the two Matts in one room.
It was.
Let's talk about the format, because we do have some exciting games here today. We're going to kick things off with, of course, a best-of-3 format for each of these regional finals. Can you talk a little bit about our first two teams here today?
Yeah, so today we've got the Rhode Island High School State Championship. East Greenwich High School, first in the regular season, a perfect record, 14-0, going by Team Brownfish versus Tiverton High School, going by the Outlaws, 9-7 in the regular season. Third place, I think that the undefeated team, we've got a clear favorite in the mix here, but gonna have to see if Tiverton can possibly step up, throw a few curveballs, and see if they can take the finals.
Whenever I'm looking at our pre-match stats and I see that one team's undefeated, there are two ways you can take it. Either, oh my lord, this is going to be one-sided, or, well, maybe they didn't have a high-quality league. Maybe there wasn't a ton of competition in that particular region, and they're about to meet a real challenge here. So I'm excited, as always, to unpack that X factor.
Sure could be. Rhode Island, I guess, smaller state, possibly less League of Legends players, but we're going to have to see what these guys can bring to the Rift today. Excited to see some of the action and some of the strats, so I should be a good one. I had a lot of fun yesterday with Liberia, but TJ, we get to hit the Rift now. Excited to see what these guys have to offer.
This will be the second time I've actually done a Play versus event recently. And I was really impressed. I did the last event with Matt Clendaniel, and I was really impressed during that by the overall quality of high school League of Legends. There's been a lot of shade thrown at the collegiate scene over the last couple of years, people saying it doesn't quite live up to their expectations for collegiate sports. And the crop of players making their way through the high school system here with Play Versus has repeatedly impressed me.
Oh, I think this is my first event for Play versus High School, and as a collegiate coach, I have to say that quite a few of the players impressed me yesterday. We got to cast a Grandmaster mid laner, TJ, who got a pentakill on Katarina in the last game of the finals. So,
that sounds so fun! I
know. It was crazy. And a lot of players, hitting Diamond 4. We had a sophomore who was Diamond 4 in one of those games. I think that's really impressive. So these players are stepping up and showing their stuff, and going to have to see if they can do that again here.
All right. Over on the left side, it is, of course, the Outlaws. Over on the right, we have the Brownfish wearing red. Anything you were particularly looking out for as we headed into this game? Did any of the players stand out to you?
The thing that immediately caught my eye is the top laner of Brownfish, so human each one on the Pantheon, has a KDA of 96 in this tournament, and I'm pretty confident that's not a typo. That's a very big number coming on through.
Yeah, that certainly does display...
That stuck out to me.
It certainly does display a certain survivability in the top lane, particularly, where you normally have pretty dead-even KDAs, because you both get ganked, you both get shoved down. So that implies that we're getting far out ahead early and then impacting the rest of the map on the rotates.
I mean,
guess what?
You say not a lot of
Matt,
deaths, but it's Pantheon. He's going in.
Yeah. Guess what, Matt?
Yeah.
He's playing Pantheon, which is the perfect character to do that on.
That's very true. And excited to see him on this new patch. Obviously, they buffed a lot of his solo lane capabilities, TJ. That move speed now on his E, buffed up instead of the tower invulnerability, going to make a big difference and really pushing him into the solo laners once again. So good to see him being picked up here in the top lane by Human each. Going to have to see if he can make a big impact and bully out this Darius, who himself, also a pretty annoying champion to face in lane. Very strong.
Let's talk a little more broadly about the two-team compositions, because I think that Brownfish and, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, Matt, have a really good thematic idea of what they want to do in a team fight.
Yeah, man, they want to press R and go in. It's pretty nice to see a bunch of champions that want to do that. Gonna have to see if they're able to pull it off. The Zyra mid is also very interesting. A champion that we don't see a lot anymore. Usually when we do, it's at support, but pretty good at disengaging fights. So I'm curious to see if Nara Crush can execute on those once you get that ultimate, because those Stranglethorns pretty tough to get through.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be really, really good, because that Zyra ultimate is one of the only tools that I think can stop the death ball that Brownfish are building. Let's talk about this top lane fight, though, because we may have big trouble for Human, who has to flash away from the chase down. He will not bleed to death, and in the meantime, there's going to be a hard engage in response. It's Rustic on the front lines. The drop down finally comes through. Human did fall. Rustic in the 1v1 versus Muntar is trying to get it back in with a TP now to back him up.
Gonna have to see if he can take the kill. The knockback into the stun.
Ooh.
Human each going to get the revenge kill on that one. A big hit to the 96 KDA, but overall, good trade. I think you're gonna take that one in the finals. 2 for 1 at the top lane here for the red side.
Very, very good start for the Brownfish, particularly because that whole engagement did start with Chrono pretty much catching out Human. Completely flat-footed.
Yeah, and I think it's the power of Zac. We're not used to seeing that until he gets a lot more levels into that elastic slingshot, but the fact that Mother Yar was able to, you know, land that pull on through the apprehend and just a kill, and I'm surprised at all the pressure we're seeing from Zac even more in the mid lane now, TJ.
Yeah, Chrono finds a very good pick there. Just able to yank Meta Knight a little bit too far forward. Send him back to Smash Brothers.
We're crossing games now?
I mean, that's where my head goes. I know Meta Knight's actually a deeper reference than that, but sue me, I'm a zoomer.
Oh man, I miss Meta Knight. He was really annoying to face in Brawl, but also very fun.
The Pantheon up here in the top lane for Human is still struggling in these close-range brawls. Barely surviving another engagement with 1-3R.
That's trouble. Both very lane-dominant champions. It's a kind of feast or famine lane for both of those. As Zac getting involved once again. The Black Shield, though, going to be clutch here for each people. Going to be able to sneak on out of that game.
Mid lane, we'll see Meta Knight trying to get a little bit of revenge, but into Zyra, that's going to be very, very difficult. Rustic's arrival down bottom doesn't net the Brownfish much of anything, but it does get map control, which is very important because this Drake did just come up.
And TJ, I know we've talked quite a bit about Zac getting involved in all 3 lanes now early, but it hasn't come for free. Look at the CS difference we have between Rustic and Zac. A 2-level difference. The ultimate as well, trying to push the power.
A deep dive from Rustic. We're going to see how it works out as Chrono's done an excellent job stalling this out. And that's going to be a double picked up for Zyra Crush. Very, very well done.
Yeah, huge play coming in here for Outlaws. They're able to get those 2 kills, stop the Dragon from going down, and the Zyra plant should be able to tank that one up so they can take it for themselves. Good rotation coming on through from these guys, and this is not the story we were expecting, right? I mean, keep in mind, Brownfish undefeated here in the regular season. So early play getting turned up against them. Maybe some nerves here in the state championship. It could be possible, but overall, Outlaws sending them to the brig, to the gray screens.
I was really impressed by the positioning there, as Chrono was able to just eat up all of that aggression, act as kind of a linebacker and make sure that Nara and Nara and Little Stingster on the Xerath, who were sitting behind him, could just get all of their abilities off free fire. And there was nothing in response from the Brownfish attackers. They couldn't connect with the squishier backline of the Outlaws. Again, all because of Zac, who was operating there kind of as a second support.
I like linebacker. He's definitely going to be blitzing in as the game goes on. I'm
The fact
also surprised you brought up a football reference, TJ. I was not
Yeah,
expecting that
I
from
was
you.
there with the American football reference before you were, and I am stunned,
Wow.
shocked, and alarmed.
Me as well. We see trading going on in the top lane. TJ, bot lane. Can you explain to me what's going on with Senna?
I will. I do want to acknowledge first that Human has yet again lost that trade up top. So Rustic will get the revenge. That's going to make it a pretty even trade, but you want to keep your eye on Rustic getting that gold there because he certainly can scale out ahead. Let's touch on this Senna. This is an AD carry Senna. This is not a support Senna. This is going to be a Senna, I believe, trying to build Muramana and become the primary source of damage for that Outlaws team.
Yeah, I more mean the CS differential coming on in, as I was not expecting to see that gank the mid lane. Can Pantheon take down Zyra?
Rustic will grab Chrono, and it's going to be a double pickup for East Greenwich. As Human gets another one, that brings our kill scoreboard at the very top of the screen to 5-all. You're right to point out the CS. I glossed over it because I was like, yeah, Senna will be doing fine in this lane. Status report, she is not. This Senna is at a 16 CS count currently versus 68. You might be like, oh, it's Starvation Senna, but the Xerath isn't getting that gold either, which you would think would be where you wanted that to go if it were a Starvation Senna.
Is an option. The 2 souls that drop there are pretty nice. That's going to be pretty valuable there for Da Vinci.
With the nerfed soul drop rates, like ages and ages ago, it's generally not considered viable to go Starvation Senna, where you, of course, let the minions die to either your ally or just enemy minions so that you can pick up the souls.
It is a fun strat. There's some really creative bot lanes we saw.
But it's not considered viable anymore.
Yes.
Which means that this bot lane right now is looking pretty bad for Outlaws.
That and the fact that Hecarim, he has 80 CS in the jungle, and that is the most in the game. Hecarim's a champion that when he gets a lot of farm, he does a lot of damage and a lot of work with it as well. So Outlaws gonna have to try and make some plays here to try and get themselves back in this one. Looking at the upcoming Dragons, possibly if they're able to group up, get a good disengage fight going through, might be their window, but they are falling behind as this game goes on.
I do want to address that Nara in the mid lane is absolutely tearing it up. A small spot of hope here. Oh, that was a good shield. The Darius ult goes short. Human able to shield it and win out the 1v1 for, I believe, the first time that game.
Really well played by Humanich. Nice timing there on utilizing the E to go invulnerable. Gets him the solo kill in the top lane, getting a little bit of revenge. And that wave crashing, it will be picked up by Zach, but a lot of resources lost by the Darius, so potential for that one to possibly snowball a little bit more in Humanich's favor. I did like how he utilized that ultimate into the mid lane. Zach, I think he's trying to get revenge this time.
Chrono's back, baby. And that's going to be another kill over to them.
The top
yet
lanes,
again.
Yeah, top lane's just been fed over to the jungle. Every time. It's solo kill, jungle is there to pick it up.
But that last exchange, I think, does break it in favor of Brandfish because it gives Humanich a lead in the lane, and their jungler, as you noted moments ago so astutely, is doing much better. Rustic has a massive lead over Chrono, who's essentially going to be a secondary support here. In the mid lane, it's going to get worse. That was a very nasty combo from Rustic, and that is going to mean that Nara Crush, who again was one of the few performers doing well on the Outlaws, is now behind. Their turret will be demolished.
The press R and go in comp paying off there in the mid lane is all of a sudden Brownfish, they've started the crack open this game, utilizing that Rift Herald, a couple kills. Now have a 3k gold lead that lands in the bot lane. Can they turn this one?
The Senna will get out. Da Vinci getting behind the safety of the turret. But you see how this lane has developed. I think on paper, both these bot lane duos are pretty good poke compositions. But the Senna's low rate of fire means that it's much more difficult for her to dodge out the skill shot exchanges, and couple that with some really, really good performances from what I've seen from Chico and each people. And they are just shutting things down. Here we go, into the Drake fight down bottom. Only one kill over to Brownfish. Up top, Humanich will get another pick. This Drake may go to Tiverton High School, but at what cost? As the full dive comes through, we're pressing R and going in, baby. In the back lines, Chico will be zoned back, but already up front, everyone has fallen for the Outlaws. So as long as Chico can get out here, as long as Chico can stay alive, it'll be a positive trade. Chico goes down. The Drake is successfully picked up for the Outlaws. See if maybe Chrono can get away with this. He'll go in at close range versus Meta Knight. He just gets shredded, trying to gain access to each, but he can't for long enough. Each will survive, and that's going to be another good fight for the Brown Fish.
They have no mana.
Oh my lord! He gets away!
The global coming in from Senna as well, even going to pick up the kill on each people. Morgana
That's
going
disastrous.
down.
I take it all back.
A little bit disastrous, but hey, at least if you are Brownfish, you still have that gold lead. But the Dragon going over to Outlaws, all of a sudden this opens up kind of a backdoor win condition, right? The fact that if they stack up these Dragons, potentially open up that Dragon Soul for themselves. It is Ocean Soul this game, and that is no soul to snarf at, as it is arguably the most powerful one in the game.
What is the act of snarfing at a soul?
I don't know. It's like Christmas time, you know, or the holidays. I'm thinking of the Grinch. I feel like he's someone that snarfs.
The Grinch would snarf at the Ocean Soul.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he'd be wrong, to be clear. The Grinch, as he is in many things, he's wrong about Christmas, and he's wrong about the viability of the Ocean Soul in League of Legends.
It's the calming
We'll engage.
Oh, there's nothing.
That's going to be the killer instinct, and oh my lord, the little stink has just gone. Top lane Munther Yar does stay ahead of Human Each, but is losing out that trade reliably. It should certainly be a concern for the Outlaws. Here's the bait. Into mid lane with the ultimate cast. Rustic cleans up Nara, no problem at all.
It is so difficult for Zyra to be mid without flash against Diana Hecarim. I mean, you can see right there. Oh, okay, another one. Chrono, man, he's picking up a lot of kills. Just wave late to stop the gank from happening.
Chrono is doing a really good job impersonating the most popular movie franchise of our modern era. Consistently avenging his teammates. Doing very little else.
It needs to start coming up with more consistent shows. We can marvel at.
I hear he's got a lot of TV shows coming out though, so
he's working on it.
Making money at the box office.
Yeah, they're working on it over there.
Chrono did do another good job there in the top lane, just slowing things down for a second, keeping Human Each off of the turret, so it's a little bit more of the proactivity I was literally just asking for. Very good mid-game adjustment. Now Chrono will go in on his counterpart, Rustic inside the jungle. They've got the rotate up from mid as well. Nara Crush will be right here, casting the ultimate as Hecarim pops the onslaught of shadows. It's 1-1 for the trade. Nara gone. Now can they get more? Yes. Chrono gets 2 picks here in the top lane. Now they've just got to deal with the rotate at close range with their dawning shadow across the map. The Diana will grab the kill. That's Meta Knight for 1, maybe for 2. Chasing Chrono behind their turret. And finally, Chrono will get to safety.
Chrono's coming up really big with these slingshots this game. It feels like he is doing everything he can to keep the Outlaws in the game, making an impact on the map. Yes, he is behind NCS to the Hecarim, but hey, securing that kill on Hecarim, the shutdown gold going over is going to be a nice little pocket, little bit of gold going over to his team. Possibly get some items, catch themselves back up, because still going to be on the back foot despite his heroic actions on the sack.
I think that is definitely the way to frame this so far. Chrono is a hero by themselves. Possibly the only reason Outlaws are in this.
Ooh.
We'll see a very aggressive ultimate cast down here in the bot lane, and Human will get 2.
That's a 1v2 where he gets both. That's a lot of damage coming through on this Pantheon. And
look, it's really impressive, Matt, until you realize that, again, that bot lane has a combined 50 CS.
Yeah, they're a little far behind in the lane. That said,
they are
Human Each.
Starving.
Yeah. As we touched on, Senna doesn't want to be starving anymore. As, speaking of starving, Hecarim trying to get a little bit of food in the mid lane. Nice ultimate.
Good ultimate in, and that should be another pick onto Nara. Zach behind the turret will now have the support. A Munther rotating all the way down from the top lane, but I think that's going to doom them. There's no way out in the attempt to turn things here for Chrono. The attempt to participate drops them as well. Chrono, Nara, and Munther all gone in mid. As with, I think, the entirety of the Outlaws' side, their hopes being crushed.
Brownfish making a statement in this game, showing why they went through this regular season undefeated in the state of Rhode Island. Starting to really make a stamp on this map. That mid tower falling and now taking an Ocean Dragon. Very important. Slowing down the backdoor win condition that Outlaws has. Continues to make it look further and further out of reach. Game one, been really good here for Brownfish. I like the play that we've seen out of their top laner and jungler. It feels like they're working pretty well together to make sure that Pantheon, got ahead. He had a few slip-ups early, but now that he is ahead, doing a good job of making his mark on the map as well.
And I really like that you flagged Human as the player to watch at the very start of this game, Matt, because he has been. And his ability to influence the rest of the map once they got out ahead on this Pantheon has been spectacular. Let's talk about this Rift Herald. It's going to be a full rotate attempt to contest from the Outlaws on the flank. It is Human each teleporting all the way in, and that means the entire attacking team of the Outlaws is caught inside a tiny choke point. They will be slaughtered. The only player still alive is Chrono. They're finally picked up. In the meantime, it's been an attempt to turn this from the bot side, as Da Vinci does do good work. I think they may even get away. No, Meta does a disgusting amount of damage. Chrono did survive the fight off the back of their passive. Zach passive giving you a second lease on life, but won't be able to contest this Rift Herald.
TJ, all of a sudden, we've gotten a lot of kills going down in this game, and 8K Goldie going over for Brownfish East Greenwich High School. Really starting to come out ahead in this one. And it feels like there's not a lot of options to come back in. It feels like Chrono just has to keep on going for these big plays, and he is now in trouble.
Chrono did find a good opportunity. The black shield was available for each people. Oh, still gets the kill. Almost survived. Picking up his own goop. Chrono will eventually go down there.
Chrono continues to make plays.
Still, I'm still impressed that Chrono got a 1-1 trade out of that.
He's doing everything he can to keep his team in this one, but it feels like it's too much. That was even a decent fight for him, right? The Zyra ult dropped in the choke was very good. It stops members from going through, but when you're up against Pantheon, Hecarim, Diana, it's so easy for them to get into your backline and wreak havoc, and feels like East Greenwich doing a really good job executing upon that as well. Why they find themselves so far ahead.
Very far ahead at this point. This is, of course, game 1 of 3. We'll touch on it in a second. I don't imagine this fight will be close. Human is playing it very carefully. And as a result, should be rewarded with a pretty easy kill. There it is.
Feels like you just kind of toying with him.
Yeah, this is the support Xerath, so I also don't imagine that will be too difficult to get.
TJ, we did see support Xerath win a game yesterday, and support Lux.
Support Xerath is good.
Yeah, it'd probably make you pretty happy.
I like support Xerath.
Yeah. As a support player that plays... Oh my goodness.
What is that from Human? Perfectly timed to survive the 1v2.
He's got this.
Chrono is just desperately trying to find the burst. Will pop his ulti, and that is barely, narrowly enough.
I thought Human had that as well. He's going nuts on this Pantheon. 10, 6, and 6. The 6 death column, it's not going to help out for the 96 KDA, but 10 kills, 6 assists. He's getting involved in everything across the map in what has been a pretty wild game, considering that we have 43 kills here at the 22-minute mark. If you are not familiar with League of Legends, I would say that that's a lot. It's a lot of action.
That is indeed.
Yeah, if any parents are watching, this is a lot.
Very, very good signs for East Greenwich.
Yeah, look at the items coming on through. Kraken Slayer for Kaisa. Senna still doesn't have her hands on that mythic item, which is so important with the new patch. Xerath doesn't either. Morgana delaying it as well to opt in for that Zhonya's for the extra utility early. So I
got a hot question for you.
Okay.
Sorry to any parents in the audience who aren't gonna have firm opinions about this. As a collegiate coach, how do you feel about champions that need to build tier items like Muramana before their meta?
Ooh.
If
It's
you don't know what League of Legends is, I promise we'll get back to like talking about, I don't know, weather or something. Just give us a hot second.
there are a couple non-mythic items that are worth building first. Like I think Nashor's Tooth is really strong right now as well. It just kind of depends on the champion. For Senna, it's too important to her kit. For Ezreal, you can actually go tier and kind of get around it going Divine Sunder. As this Senna is not gonna have a fun time. Whoa.
So you think it doesn't meaningfully hurt the...
It doesn't because they're very cheap. Like I think it's 2,200 gold to build, which is like most mythics are sitting around like 3,000 to like 3,400. So I don't mind it as much. Oh my goodness, Diana.
Meta Knight with a deep dive, and that will be the fight. You're going to have a desperate attempt from Chrono here. But 1v3, there's simply no way back out. A triple kill for Rustic. An excellent initiation from Meta Knight, the only player to fall there on the Brandfish. This will be another try.
Appreciate the try there to steal the dragon for Senna. It feels necessary at this point to go for that Hail Mary.
It doesn't...
I want to see Baron.
Does it work?
Yes.
You can't...
Yep.
Last I checked, that didn't affect... The Dawning Shadow didn't affect monsters.
Oh.
That changed?
You are correct on that one. You have stooped the coach.
Fact check!
I have been stooped.
MSNBC.
Stoop. DJ is going to wear the color hat now for the rest of this broadcast as Baron is taken by East Greenwich. It doesn't seem like any contestant is going to come on through. And with how far ahead they are, TJ, I fully expect for this to be the game-ending push coming on through with some Baron power creeps.
It feels like Dawning Shadow should hurt monsters. This is like a big railgun shot all the way across. I don't know. Looks really cool. You should be able to steal objectives with it. There is my petition to the developers. Let Senna steal monsters.
It's only enemy champions hit. Congratulations, TJ. You've won.
Woo! He was still fact checking that as we were talking just now.
You didn't even realize it unless I just unveiled it. We have the technology.
There was like a little. I heard like a keyboard click.
Oh no! Oh, I should ask producer Pine help us out.
You should have been on your smartphone.
Yeah, or I should have just known that beforehand because probably know that.
Hey, I mean, there's like 4,000 champion abilities. I don't blame you at all.
That is true, and fortunately for me, I don't have to be able to name them all.
What a good black shield there for the Morgana. We'll get well into this fight with no damage taken over on the Brownfish side as Rustic and Meta Knight kick things off strong. You'll have a little bit back there from Krona. The only kill back does shut down each people after an excellent initiation from the Morgana support. But that is the only thing that again goes the Outlaws' way. Everything else picked up by Brownfish now with Baron in hand, looking for a game end.
Hey, I love seeing supports get involved with some engaged duties. You don't usually see that from Morgana, but I feel like each people is more than happy to spend a little bit of time in the gray screen, considering that engage sent 3 enemies into the gray screen as well. Base is being taken. Inhibitor down, TJ. Next turret soon to follow. It's been a dominant game 1 coming out from East Greenwich.
It is only game 1. Outlaws do still have a chance to turn this.
Oh.
Even in this game 1, there's nothing Hunter without an excellent case.
Oh,
the
Harry.
Backlines, Rustic may have dove a little bit too deep. The shielding keeps them alive. And that actually may have cancelled the Brownfish's opportunity here to end game. A refocus, inhibs first.
2 inhibs down. It's still a pretty tough scenario to get on through. This game's been one-sided past the 10-minute mark. I think it was a really good start for Outlaws, but once East Greenwich kind of got their act together, it has been all of them for the rest of the game.
Rustic, 1-1 trade. That's not actually what they want. With Chico down as well, this could get messy. Still in Chrono, alive to stall out onto Meta, who has no mana whatsoever. Can Chrono finish this kill? No,
healing.
Not quite.
Look at the healing.
The damage from Human is so good, and Human will yet again save the day, shutting down Chrono. But Chrono's efforts are not in vain, as it does mean the Outlaws will be able to remain on the map a little bit longer. Brownfish stopped from ending the game just there.
It was close. Brownfish definitely pushing a little bit too hard. A mistake that you do not like to see on League of Legends from the team. They're fine. Just reset.
As a collegiate coach, where would you say that fight went wrong? Because it was definitely like that should have been the game end. And then it looked to me like there were just some quick coordination issues. Can you pin down a little bit more?
It's a little bit split between taking Nexus turrets or the top one inhibitor, right? You want to pick one or the other. I think getting split up and also just pushing under the tower, they took a lot of damage they didn't need to take. That said, what I would have done there is probably it's either you go for the end and take Nexus turrets and don't worry about the top inhibitor, or you take that and then base, buy, get the dragon, and then just take this bottom one inhibitor. It's a little bit longer, but a safer way to win the game, and it seems like after a little bit of excitement, that's what Brownfish are doing right now.
Yeah. First, we'll be resetting most likely for this Drake. Oh no, and again, TV to follow.
That's a lot of damage.
That's going to be Meta surviving on about half HP.
A lot of damage with Zac. Alt has been used. Now Zyra ult used as Pantheon has to burn his flash. We have backup.
Oh, that Dark Binding!
Wow.
And Chico just deletes Naira Crush. What a excellent Dark Binding there from each people to set up that play. Coming in on the flank, landing the necessary CC. And that may be the chink in the armor required to end this game.
Human each won and each people won. Feel like they're tied for my #1 player this game. They've been outstanding. Oh my goodness. Pantheon damage.
Human in again, and this fight is over. There's nothing left for the Outlaws. Game 1 will be picked up eventually, but steadily by the Brownfish after a brief moment of over-aggression. They put themselves 1-0 up in the regional final.
Well, a couple of gifts to the Nexus Laser there as Brownfish win in style. 14-0 in the regular season, continuing that undefeated streak now. Good game 1 from them.
I think we should frame it this way. We saw some really, really good things out from the Outlaws. In particular, of course, Chrono's performance on Zac.
Yes.
How can they enable him better coming into game 2?
I like the first 10 minutes they had planned. The fact that Darius was able to take down Pantheon. Chronos seemed to be showing up at the right place at the right time. It was a little bit late here and there, so he wasn't able to help with a 2v2, but he was cleaning up kills. So still props to him. I'd love to see, you know, let's get cheesy. Like, these guys are undefeated. You might want to try like a full early game comp, see if you can, you know, group up and try and snowball things through, make sure that, you know, East Greenwich never gets started. Because once they got started in that game, once that Hecarim got rolling, it was a lot to handle.
I speculated at the very head of this block that maybe East Greenwich just hadn't had a lot of good competition in their region, you know? Maybe they're undefeated just because they hadn't had anyone that was playing at their level. I'd like to apologize, as a sterling Game 1 performance makes clear exactly why they were undefeated. The Brownfish will have a chance to close out this regional final. Before that, though, we're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back in 5 minutes with game number 2. And we're back with the Play versus Full Championship. My name's still TJ. That is still one Matthew Samuelson. You wanted to start things off with an apology.
Yeah, so our names stay the same, but it is not East Greenwich, it's East Greenwich. And I think after winning that game and going undefeated for the regular season, yeah, we should refer to them as East Greenwich, because they made a statement in that one.
I mean, it's always good to get people's names
yeah,
right.
we should
but
usually try and do that.
I especially have no excuse, because that's, I mean, it's an English city name that's being recycled there, and I don't know. As I was saying it, being like, man, that should be like Greenwich. And yeah, apparently.
I was just thinking of sandwiches. I love sandwiches.
Really?
So, yeah.
How does that tie to sandwiches?
Well, like Greenwich, sandwich.
What?
I don't know, that's where my head was at. But it's Greenwich.
Matt is hungry. You know what I'm hungry for? Some great League of Legends. Let's head into game number 2 of this regional final, this state final. We do have an excellent result from game 1. We saw really, really, really good performance from the Brownfish across the entire game. But I think most interestingly, we had flickers of brilliance from the Outlaws as well, particularly from Chrono.
Chrono was the player to watch on Zach, the one keeping them in the game, and TJ, much different look coming out from him in this game, as he is not going to be on the tank, but on a carry jungler in the Secco.
Yeah, let's talk through these drafts briefly. Last game, I really praised Brownfish's draft. I thought they did a really good job with a single kind of central thesis towards what their draft would do during team fights. And I want to say, I think that's the same here again. On the opposite side, the Outlaws are still a little bit more split. They have a lot of poke potential, and their front line is going to be Munther Yar from the top lane and Garen. And then you have the Echo, who I guess is jumping in and out, diving in and out. And on its own, as a team comp, I would maybe worry a bit about that. Knowing what we saw from Chrono last game with that exact same playstyle, but on Zac, I'm actually really excited to see what he can do on Echo.
He was the key to his team in the last game, and we're going to have to see if he can be that once again in this one. We also have something kind of cute going on. Last game, Morgana was someone that was very good on the side of East Greenwich. Brownfish being played by each people. I'd say a highlight performer behind Human Each One in the top lane. That's going to be taken away by the mid laner of Outlaws. So another support that we are used to seeing more of the support role being taken mid. Morgana mid, it can work. And Human Each says, you know what? I want to lane against that. He's taking the Akali into the mid lane, so not going to be top in this game.
Oh no. We've got some feline bullying happening down bottom, as Each does get yanked forward on the Yuumi. Let's touch on this. How are you feeling about Yuumi in current day 2020?
Yuumi Caitlyn as a lane, I think that East Greenwich, they felt really good about how last game went, because it's not the best lane in the world. It can get punished by a Nautilus. You have to dodge out on those dredge lines, but Yuumi is still the same champion once you get into the later parts of the game. Very annoying, very powerful, and this Kane's in trouble.
Yeah, really good dive again from Chrono in the mid lane, and Meta will lose their jungler. That's going to be Rustic gone. Now running for their life is Human, knocked down, pinned underneath the turret by the Dark Binding. But Nara doesn't know it, can't get back in.
Oh, Akali actually had to burn Flash, and 2 beautiful Dark Bindings being thrown out here by Nara Crush. Both of them connect. One leads to a kill, and the one leads to a summoner spell. Another good start here for Outlaws.
I do want to acknowledge something that just tripped me up a little bit. Human, who was our star top laner over on the Brownfish last game, is now playing here in mid on the Akali.
Once the good matchup.
Redemption is getting thrown up top.
Once the good matchup coming on through, it seems like the big carry is Human Each for this squad, and making sure that this Akali is comfortable inside the laning phase, dropping it mid against the Morgana instead of going up against the Garen, which obviously has that silence that can be difficult to deal with in the spin. Doesn't get you in the shadows. Making sure Human Each feels really good.
We were talking a little bit about how Yuumi Caitlyn isn't the greatest duo lane. I don't think Yuumi is particularly strong right now. But what she is, and always will be, is terrifying in the late game.
Yes.
As is Caitlyn, as is Kayn, as is Akali. And on this patch, Renekton also takes that box. So yet again, you have a really, really strong central thesis to the Brandfish draft. They're saying, we're going to get to the late game, and once we're there, we will be able to do disgusting amounts of damage in the critical team fight.
Yeah, I also kind of like the fact the Caitlyn Akali pairing. They don't want to do the same things, but Caitlyn still weaker in the middle parts of the game, especially with the new 80 carry items. You kind of need 60% crit now to get the new IE passive and really, be doing significant damage in these fights. But Akali on that one item spike still incredibly strong, so that's going to help him get there as Chrono trying to make another impact on the map.
Yeah, and I think that is where we have to draw the opposition for Outlaws. If you do have a slower start, which I think by and large you do on the Brandfish side compared to last game, then you have more time for Chrono on the Echo, a champion that can have early and mid-game impact, to make a difference.
It's going to be essential for the side of Outlaws that they want to win this game, because Kayn is a champion that early is very weak, as you mentioned, kind of the late game menace, TJ. The joke is that he isn't a champion until he gets that transform, where he either goes blue Kayn or red Kayn. I will say it's a pretty good game for blue Kayn, which I didn't think I'd be saying, but there's a lot of squishies on the side of Outlaws and potential for Rustic to possibly really pressure with blue Kayn. I expect we're going to see red, but I kind of want to see blue. It'd be a little bit more fun, more damage.
Do you want to briefly explain to the audience what the difference is?
Yeah, red Kayn, so when Kayn is able to transform, it kind of augments a couple of his abilities, specifically his W. If you go blue, it does lethality damage, or more damage with lethality, and you get rid of the cast time. Whereas if you go red, you do % health damage, which is better against tanks, and your W has a knockup at the end of it, which is also very useful.
You mean, again, called down here, and that's going to be each people trying to stay alive. So, Blue Kayn a little bit better against the VP boys.
For sure.
Garen
Oh, he got
top.
the shield.
One of those beefy boys will go down to Meta Knight. I also want to point out that during these last couple of minutes, when we were talking about Kayn, Greenwich did get themselves the first Drake of the game and Ocean Drake into their pocket. Rona caught out here, but will survive.
Okay, TJ, you know what I'm actually really curious about? What happens when Kayn is in his ultimate and Yumi's on him?
I have played Yumi, and the
Really?
answer for most of these is that Yumi stays with the champion.
That
But
could be wild.
I do not know that specific interaction.
Akali gonna have to backflip to get out of the chains coming out from Morgana. Aggressive trade coming on in here from Human Each. It's a different champion for the player, but it's the same aggression coming on through.
You were so surprised when I said I'd played Yumi.
I was.
You were, like, shocked.
And you've been on the Seraphine kick lately, and also you like the engaged sports. I thought you were a very anti-Yumi.
I'm really into Rhode.
Ooh.
No, Yumi's not one of the characters I enjoy playing. She's not like in my wheelhouse, but
Sometimes Niberia
I like to understand everything.
Oh, there
know?
we go. I thought it was just Niberia, friend of the program.
My friends beg me
Yeah.
not to play Yumi. I say, I'm going to play Yumi, and my friends go, good lord, TJ, no! We want to win this game.
Well, I thought Niberia just wanted some more 1v9 clips for his upcoming montage to feel like an LPL 80 carry.
Let that slide. We have an engagement here. This is Rustic in big trouble. Does have some backup from the mid lane. Human Age flashing past the challenge. Will find the kill. And now you've got the roam down as well from Meta Knight. This is going to be a tight escape. Good dark finding from Nara Crush. Will get himself away.
Rustic played that so well, man. He got to really... He was dancing on the edge of death, but utilized the ultimate to go invulnerable, gets the damage off, and is able to dash away, even has a W to throw on the back end. And the fact that he bought so much time for the rest of the team to get there, that's what turned around the fight here for East Greenwich.
East Greenwich kind of having a little bit of a miracle there. Because that
Yeah, a
really
little bit.
ought to have been a very good fight. And ought to have, frankly, just been Rustic dying. But they managed to survive off some very good cooldown timing of their own. And then you have one of the most stunning engagements I've seen in a while from Human.
Human showing no fear, diving into that fight, and the kill goes on over.
What are these hooks?
It's on Chrono. The Yumi's getting bullied a little bit in there.
Yeah, okay, mid-side, it is Rustic down again. Chrono very low, but of course can reset. Now the redive afterwards almost burns down Rustic for Meta Knight. But it's going to be Outlaws, yes again, struggling in the top lane trade.
That's a big 2v2 win coming out for Outlaws, as they're able to at least get something turned around for them on the map. Those kills going on over, and another dredge line PK.
Ooh, very good Dawning Shadow to try and keep Little Stinko alive, as is some good play from Da Vinci G. We'll be able to trade out those kills even.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on here. Meta Knight comes in like they're running the marathon.
He was optimistic.
They were ready to go.
I feel like it was like the up B and brawl, you know, like where you like go on the wings, you go like really fast.
Oh yeah, okay, we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
No, I apologize, I misspoke earlier. Outlaws are really putting together quite a lot here, and I'm excited for them, especially after game number 1. And it feels like there are a couple different things that are going right. Chrono is still having a devastatingly good impact across the map, but also we're seeing a lot better performance in the bottom line.
Yes, the kill going on over to the Senna. Still very behind in CS like the last game, but keeping up a little bit better and also having more pressure on the lanes. Also, Garen against Renekton actually holding his own in the top lane. So I think that's important. Akali is getting the better of Morgana, but Garen into Renekton is a pretty good match for Garen, and Mother Yar is doing a good job of that.
Rift Herald will be summoned here in the mid lane, which may be the break point Rustic and the rest of their team need.
I still haven't seen if Rustic has transformed, because that's definitely something that we're going to want to track in this game to see which form he ends up going for. And it's a big power spike for Kayn as well. But these points going on over. More gold being funneled into Human Each.
Human Each was the hard carry of last game on the Pantheon in top lane. This time round, on the Akali, doing pretty well again. That's going to be down bottom, a little bit of positioning brawl for the second Drake of the game. It's ongoing. Brian Fish did initially have the setup. They did get the first Drake of the game. That perhaps is why the Outlaws were so quick to respond. They've been pushing back the vision, trying to make it difficult for Rustic to get onto that Drake.
That Drake might be a big point of contention, as both teams, you have to think, are looking at it. Yeah.
Is contention a word?
No, that's a miss. We're gonna have producer Pine edit that one out.
That's a Samuelson's own brand word.
It is a part of my branding. The also
Dawning Shadow. What a good shot out from Da Vinci. Very interesting final chapter. Almost turned things back around. It will be a successful Drake take over to Chrono, but they are hard punished immediately afterwards. Chico ending the life. And now we're going to go even further forward as Human Each comes through to clean up the Northwest. Little Stinker already gone. Perfect execution has not been spent. But all members of the Outlaws are safe behind the turret. So Brian Fish will have to be content with the 2 kills they got. They did lose both Rustic and the Drake, though. I would paint that as a win for Outlaws.
It's still good for Outlaws. I want to point out the trap coming out from Caitlyn that caught Chrono on the Chrono break from Echo was crazy.
Yeah.
That's how he ends up going down. That was a really cool play coming out from Chico Gamer.
Preemptively placing the trap where Chrono is going to return on their Chrono break.
Yes. A little bit of luck, but also sick play coming on through.
Well, good play there. 10% luck.
Yeah.
Monthryar will be shoving Meta Knight back in lane up here, but not too much. I like Samuelson's own. If you ever start like a health food
So
brand,
my my grandpa, obviously being a broadcaster himself, Orion Samuelson. had-
Orion Samuelson. You have
Yeah.
never told me his name. I love Orion Samuelson.
Yeah. So
That
he
is
had
such a good name. Sorry, continue.
he had a running bit called Samuelson Says that, and they like he had like a really good writer for it, and his voice is even deeper than mine, like heavy baritone. He covers agricultural, like the markets and agriculture. He's traveled the world reporting on that. As Racton sneaks on out, but getting back to this,
No, we gotta.
they
I'm
were
sorry.
writing.
I want to
yeah,
hear more about this, but we gotta
Yeah.
cover this.
we might actually have a fight here.
Presence here from Rustic, already in trouble as Chrono arrives to clean things up. That's going to be big trouble for Human Each as well. This could be a huge break point for Outlaws as they find two of the big carries over on
Ooh.
Brownfish and may tank both of them, barely. Does Human Each survive behind the turret? And that will be why Chrono dives on
Nice.
in with the aid of a black shield. Trying to find the kill.
Senna does get rooted up. Can they take her down as well? The trap's not going to connect. Oh,
Oh,
Auto squawks it. The hero.
little stinker earning his pay today.
That's a true support right there.
Preempting the hook onto the Yumi's disconnect. I just want to call that out as well because it was very well done. Knowing that the Yumi was going to try and get off of Chico to try and get a little further forward, he punishes each people for it. Then immediately after, is able to reposition in time to catch the ace in the hole.
Yeah, I also want to credit the fight that happened in the top lane. Garen found the silence onto Rustic, which is what took down the Kane so quickly because he couldn't utilize that R to go invulnerable to get all the damage off, as we do have Red Kane coming on out. They're going to be the knockups and the extra % health damage. This is when Kane starts to get a lot stronger, and I think we're seeing that right here.
You know, Chrono not able to win out that fight. It was 1v3 to be fair, and two of those three players will instantly turn their attentions onto Nara. That's going to be two picked up over for Brownfish and Rustic over towards the Rift Herald pit.
And just like that, East Greenwich seems to take a big chunk of the map into their control as they do take down Shelly, I believe. Is that Shelly? Or Shelly went over to Chrono. But the bot lane turret does go over to East Greenwich, and this Caitlyn Yuumi. Yumi's halfway to the late game, right? Level 9, starting to get pretty big. Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Ooh,
Chico steps forward,
that's a
throws
misstep.
down a trap. Da Vinci walks right into it. Oh, and Chrono's here as well. Okay, this could get messy. Chrono's going to try and get some vengeance, and each people is instantly gone. This could get worse if we see another good hook out from Lil Stinker, but I think Chico's out safely.
That was another Yuumi mid-dash. Get some stunned up in the field. But TJ, I believe we were doing story time about
Tell
Samuelson
me about
Says.
your grandfather.
So travel the world reporting on agriculture in the Radio Hall of Fame. He had this bit, Samuelson Says, where the writers used to give him, they made him, like, as a part of the bit, that he would do the Desperate Housewives recap every week. And the writer was, like, really funny. And so, like, just, he had no idea what was going on in the show besides, like, who wrote it. And so he would have to do that on air, like, every week. And I guess, like, I had, like, my teachers telling me, like, this is the funniest thing I've heard on air because it's just this massive baritone. It knows nothing about Desperate Housewives, just reporting on it.
We've got some desperate gamers here in the mid lane. Chrono staying ahead of the action there and did shut down Rustic underneath the turret mere moments ago. And it looks like both mid lane attackers will get away with it. The Outlaws did collide that Rift Herald with lane. And now the deep chase from Human may be successfully punished. Chased down by Montereyar. The silence doing good work there.
Oh no!
Somehow, Human Each manages to slip out of the smoke veil and survive.
Oh, that was one spin away from getting the win, getting the kill on a Garen, but just not meant to be. That was pretty slick coming out from Human Each. I say kind of slick, but also the Shroud. We've all had that moment if you played League where Akali just, slinks on out of there.
I'm really impressed that your grandfather was willing to do a weekly bit about Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, it was really, it was really funny. I had no idea what was going on, but it was well written.
Yeah, I suppose if you knew the show, it had extra value.
Yeah.
Pressure in here.
Yeah.
This will be the Drake up for grabs. The Outlaws are set up for it. Greenwich over the wall, just kind of trying to poke in.
Still down to Yumi.
Yeah, with the current gold lead as it stands, in the favor of Brownfish. They very much want this Drake, and they will be denied it. The dive attempt from Rustic is hard punished, and it could get worse as Meta Knight stepped over the wall as well, and also falls victim to Chrono. In the meantime, you've got backline damage, and the desperate attempts of Human do not win out the fight. They're sitting on a perfect execution, 2 kills over to them, but they cannot get more, and now Chrono is even considering hunting them down.
Honestly, Human each saved that fight because it was looking really ugly there for Brownfish as Outlaws. They had control over the pit. They go for the steal. It fails. The Renekton falls rather early in the fight as well, and it was just the heroics coming out from Human each. Couple backflips, nice shurikens coming on out to pick up a few. Outlaws putting up a really good fight in this game. It's 20 minutes in, TJ, and we have a close one.
And Chrono, yet again, is such a big part of this. Chrono has won out every single smite fight, every single jungle v jungle engagement that was winnable. I'll give him a few freebies on like the 3v1 inside the Rift Arrow pit. But almost everything that Chrono has touched has turned to gold.
That's clever because he's building Zanius next, TJ.
Very good. Yeah. Now he can push a button and turn himself to gold.
That's in his inventory.
When I was really young, when I was like a 8 to 10-year-old boy, the story of King Midas really scared me, really messed me up.
Really? So you were more on the green thumb train and not the gold thumb thing?
Well, it's just, imagine, like, early on in that story, he, like, touches his daughter and turns her to gold, and that's just horrifying. There's no... Like, imagine if Black Mirror or some other modern television show did an episode about that. It would be so messed up.
Can't pet a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really where I draw the line. I can't pet dogs.
There's a lot of really horrifying Greek myths. That one, I think, is underrated as great psychological horror.
What is that originally a Greek myth?
I believe so. Could be wrong.
I did not know that. I thought it was a story of different origin, but makes sense as a Greek myth. A lot of good stories there.
I may very well be wrong. Like I said, I didn't like it very much. So
that's all right. I messed up something involving the game and concerning, Senna, not targeting things last game, and now we get to mess up our Greek mythology. I feel like that's even if you are wrong, I feel like that's a much lesser mistake. I should probably know that Senna does not affect monsters.
Maybe Arthurian, but I don't think so. It is Greek. It is Greek mythology. Ha!
TJ stays undefeated.
Undefeated in the fact check. In the meantime, we do have Rustic kind of poking in, considering 1v1 in Chrono. Remembered how that went the last few times. Turned tail and backed away.
Kane is much stronger with his form, but still struggling to get gold in his pocket, sitting at 1, 6, and 2. Is up in creeps, but I'd say Echo with 6 kills. I'd much rather have that and be where he is at in his inventory, as well as, speaking of undefeated, TJ, East Greenwich, undefeated throughout the regular season, somewhat being threatened here.
Chrono diving in. As we were about to set up, Outlaws may very well be about to hand East Greenwich their first loss. Undefeated in the regular season, here in the state finals.
Yes.
They started very dominantly in game 1. But as we watch, as we keep our eyes glued to the screen, yet another fight is headed towards the Outlaws. We're going to see a desperate attempt to turn things around here, but yet again, Human Each goes down very early on. You're seeing Rustic get called out. Echo will chase him down. A triple kill to the star play of Chrono in that fight. And this is looking devastating. Can't save Nora Crush.
Wow.
But a quadra now in the hands of Chrono.
I am beginning to wonder if his name is Chrono because of Echo. The Chrono break coming through. Yeah, he looks fantastic on this champion, just bobbing and weaving throughout that fight, picking up 4 of the 5 kills, the Queen Ace. TJ East Greenwich, man, they're really starting to struggle in this game as the Outlaws on the back of Chrono just keep on taking more and more ground, and now they're winning fights.
We do have a document that lists each player's most played champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to report that Chronos is Vladimir.
Oh, that's kind of weird for a jungler.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's officially listed as a mid laner, so there you go.
Wow. Well, that makes sense why his Echo is so good, as that champion can be flexed in both roles. And he's looking really clean with it in this one. Very impressed.
For the Drake now, this would be the third for the Outlaws. If they pick it up, that would put them on sole point, which is why, of course, the brown fish from Greenwich are so determined to not let that happen. There's a deep dive. Chrono, trying to get away here. Is in huge trouble. Can only Chrono break backwards and will die as a result. A double kill now to Human Each. And that is a massive team fight to win. Outlaws held off the Drake, held off of Soul Point, and losing a major fight. This may be Greenwich's way back into this game.
We were talking so much about how Chrono has been the big carry of his team, and guess what? Human Each says, I can do that as well. Dives on in, picks up the 2 crucial kills in that fight to get them the dragon. TJ, all of a sudden, East Greenwich, it's still a close game, but they refuse to fall behind by taking that fight, taking that dragon, and I want to see them start to assert some more control over this Baron, because with Caitlyn at these 2 items, Baron is actually a thought, can actually be taken here by the blue side team on this game.
And if you remember how we set things up at the very beginning of this game, we said that should Greenwich go late, should they get to our late game here, they will be terrifying. Their entire team composition is built around that being a win condition. Guess where we are now at the 25-minute mark, the late game. Poke in, Chrono attempting to shut down Meta Knight. Meta Knight will have backup, but he dodges away from it on the blast cone. It goes down as a result. In the meantime, it's a full-on brawl inside the jungle. Rustic will be able to grab exactly one here, shutting down the opposing Morgana, but that's going to be all. The rest needs to be cleaned up by everyone else. And there it is, Chrono in the front lines, in the stasis. That won't save him. Rustic a triple kill. And oh boy, have we arrived in the late game. Oh boy, have we arrived in Greenwich's win condition. They're going to be able to get the Baron you've just foreshadowed, Cubby. This looks very scary.
You can see the power of the Caitlyn, the Kayn in this late game shining through as Rustic picked up a triple. He has been struggling all game, but does not struggle in that fight. And notably, I think the Senna wasn't involved, right? The Da Vinci has been doing a good job of holding their own in this one, and the Senna only being able to contribute the ultimate. It takes away some healing, some slows, the invulnerability that comes out from the E. It could be very important abilities, but not available. Instead, Baron going over to East Greenwich as they're looking now to clean up the rest of the state final, take it for themselves 2-0.
Senna ought to be a late game answer for the Outlaws. A very, very powerful scaling champion because she gets those souls every time she kills an enemy. Which means that regardless of items, regardless of gold, as the game goes on, Senna gets stronger. However, we have seen some rotation errors in these last couple of fights as Da Vinci hasn't been able to be present and dealing damage during the fight. At that point, it doesn't matter how strong your champion is.
Yeah, all the range that Senna can pack with those souls can be crucial as the game goes on. That said, yeah, TJ, that's a very fine point you point out. You have to be there in order for that to actually...
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, to actually, matter. That's very, very clever of you. So now I think our eyes have to go on, what can East Greenwich take while they have the purple suits on, have the Baron buff, and when do we see another fight? I expect it's going to be at this dragon, but I'm curious to see how hard East Greenwich want to push this advantage because Caitlyn does siege very well.
I like purple suits. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I mean, it's true. They even give the minions purple suits. They make them feel good.
Those are employee benefits right there.
I mean, you better be, getting something if you're just going to run in the lane and be a sack of gold for everyone else.
As an employee benefit, I'm really impressed. I've never gotten a suit from work. Meantime, it will be the opposite of employee benefits. You better hope there's some healthcare available for the Outlaws as when she does get annihilated there in mid. UNE2 is quite terrifying. 7-3. KD department will just
Yeah.
run down the midline.
Yeah, and a cat on your back, that I'd say that makes you even more terrifying coming on in. This is a
That's
dangerous
also an
TP
important
that could get trapped. Ooh.
Yep, could have been rough for Munster. As the turret falls, it may still be rough. Got to flash away pretty much to end up where Munster would have been had they just backed.
This push is looking pretty strong here for the side of East Greenwich. They seems that with a little bit more time, some more items, they've started to come into their own. Chrono has to flash there as well as the Siege. They aren't getting the inhib turret down yet. They're taking away a lot of the resources that Outlaws can use to defend.
So the Outlaws are now zoned behind their turret. If you're an Outlaws fan, maybe parent, don't worry too much. This is still a possible survivable win condition, right? Because the Baron is about to wear off, and frankly, Brownfish haven't gotten a devastating advantage from it. They're going to turn it into Soul Point. They're going to turn it into all of the inhibitor turrets being exposed. Nothing there is game-ending.
Soul Point is pretty nice. It does give you that late game option, and probably the most important objective they were able to take, as Outlaws, they come to the scene a little bit too late. The heist has already been executed. They're going to have to find another town to go, rob from the brink. No, another dragon. Yeah.
They're walking in after George Clooney has already filmed an Ocean's 11 movie.
I thought you were going to go for like a Clint Eastwood reference there, but I'll accept the George Clooney one.
I'm definitely more of a George Clooney guy than a Clint Eastwood guy.
He seems like a classy person.
Yeah, runs like a charity or something. I don't know enough about George. Maybe he's awful. Who knows?
Oh boy. I feel like this is the plan with Yumi, just to buff up Human Each and see what he can do on the map.
Been a lot of... There's been a lot of change in aggression for East Greenwich after they came out of their mid-game slump. We definitely hit the late game and started running. Case in point, here's Rostek. Really far forward here. Does steal away that buff, and Chrono may be in trouble. Absolutely caught out.
Nice
Will
ult.
try and get away. Rustic's already casting into this fight, and the Chrono break will not save him. Oh, that's a double kill in the back lines to Human Each as they clean up a devastating team fight. And the Brownfish from Greenwich are out ahead.
I thought that was going to go south because the Caitlyn fell to Garen. Mother Yar got in the backline, one-shots Caitlyn, but Human Each on the Sakali comes up big, takes down 3 members with the triple kill in the fight. This should lead to possibly an inhibitor turret. For sure, maybe an inhibitor.
Here we go. Trying to inflict game-ending damage here for the Greenwich High School boys. We'll see how much further forward we can get.
Oh, we
Deep
want to
dive in. That's going to be Nara Crush backing away, unable to stay safe behind the turret, and it could get worse. Da Vinci D running to another turret still, and Rustic will not let them live. Mid lane inhib turret will go down. Here's Chrono trying to change their fate. A deep dive is burned down, and this is getting worse and worse and worse for the Outlaws. As yet again, kill after kill is picked up by Human Each. They will turn their attention towards this inhibitor turret, and the Brownfish are headed all the way to the Nexus turrets now, Matthew.
And TJ, I like what you brought up. It felt like East Greenwich, once they hit their stride, started playing with a different amount of aggression. To me, that shows a strength of a good team, realizing when your 5 champions are at their strongest. East Greenwich do a good job of pushing that advantage forward. Some more donations going over to that fountain laser. I'd be sending some donations too if I was winning a state championship in high school. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to do, is they take this one 2-0.
Undefeated in the regular season and now undefeated in the grand final. That will be East Greenwich High School walking away with the win in their state championship.
Congrats to the Brownfish and all of their players. State championship, nothing to scoff at. I never even got to compete in one in high school. And really happy to see that the players are able to compete in one at League of Legends. It's pretty fun seeing this, and props to Play Versus and everyone for putting these together. Got a lot of regional tournaments to cover, TJ, and fun seeing Rhode Island there.
As our resident collegiate coach, Is there anyone that stood out there, that stood out as a player to look forward for in our collegiate and amateur leagues here?
I'd say Chrono and Human each were for
Mhm.
sure the strongest players that we had on each squad, and the ones that kind of stood out to me. Individual ranks says that scholarship opportunities may not be available for them at a lot of the schools, but obviously not a lot of schools have scholarships yet. But club teams, varsity teams, everyone is able to compete in CLOL. So I'm curious to see if they choose to do that as they hopefully pursue more education or pursue whatever life has in store for them upcoming.
Like, hey, keep it open.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, they
I
can
don't
get
know.
more
Yeah.
educated if they want. It's
Yeah.
up to them. All right,
Always up to you.
congratulations. Congratulations to each. Good save. Maybe they're not quite ready to move on to the collegiate championship yet. Maybe instead they're staying in the high school leagues for another season. If that's the case, they should be sure to sign up because spring enrollment is now open. You can sign up right now. So don't forget to do that as we head towards our spring championship. Enroll today at playversus.com. That's going to be all for this game. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back with more of the Play Versus regional finals after this.